I'm sure he's just as fired up as we'd all be. I mean, your first snap in the NFL, that's something you never forget. I remember mine. I didn't step on the field until the final 2 minutes, but still, that moment gets etched into you forever. Most of us have been dreaming about this since we were 5, 6, 7 years old, and now he's getting the chance to step out there, even if it's just preseason. He's funny, he's upbeat, he's lighthearted, but make no mistake, he's a worker. He takes his craft seriously, studies what others do, and executes in his own unique way. I'm excited to see how he handles these preseason games and manages the offense. But hold up, what in the NFL multiverse is going on? Myles Garrett and Joe Flacco just went viral like a vintage 2016 sack highlight, and it's all about Shedeur Sanders snatching that QB1 spot. Did Flacco just quietly hand over the throne? Is Garrett secretly running the Shedeur Sanders fan club? Are we suddenly living in primetime Cleveland? This madness is real, hilarious, and heating up just like Shedeur's highlight reel. And now, the main event, seeing Sanders in live action against another team. For the record, Joe didn't say anything toxic or throw shade. He kept it respectful, veteran to rookie, mentor to protege, as Sanders gets ready for his first preseason and first NFL start. Who would have thought? Game 1 against the Carolina Panthers, lining up with Jimmy Horn Jr. and Shedeur Sanders under center as QB1. Myles Garrett tosses quarterbacks like folding chairs. Joe Flacco wears his Super Bowl ring like a reminder he's not just any clipboard holder. And yet today, both might have accidentally lit the fuse on Cleveland's wildest offseason subplot. Shedeur Sanders, starting quarterback. Yes, you read that right. The Browns are trending, and it's not because Deshaun Watson forgot his jersey again. Garrett and Flacco just said something that made fans spit out their $9 nachos. I'm already seeing articles asking if the Browns are setting Shedeur up to fail by throwing him in right away against Carolina. But honestly, how is playing with better players a setup to fail? He's been working with the second and third teams. Now he's got first string talent around him. That's an upgrade, not a trap. And just like that, primetime isn't just in Boulder anymore. It's leaking into Cleveland like hot sauce on white pants. Is this really happening? Did the face of Colorado's glam offense just get casually name-dropped by two of the AFC North's most serious dudes? This feels like a fever dream. Shedeur Sanders, first preseason start, quarterback 1, Carolina Panthers, August 8th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Maybe he jumped from QB4 to QB1 overnight. Maybe they just want to see what they've got. Maybe they're tossing him into the fire. But here's what I know. When the lights are bright and the pressure's high, this kid has always delivered. He was born for these moments. And honestly, I'm not too worried about Carolina's defensive line or secondary. Meanwhile, Brown's Twitter is spiraling. Fans are renaming the stadium Primetime Energy Stadium. Somebody made a Flacco mentor Shedeur jersey out of duct tape. But beneath the memes lies the real question. Is this kid the future? Because when Garrett raises an eyebrow and Flacco smirks, something's brewing. Confidence, chaos, maybe both. Some folks online say it's a setup to fail. I don't buy it. These are the Browns. They couldn't intentionally set someone up to fail if they tried. This is just a circumstance. Dylan Gabriel's injured, Kenny Pickett's injured, Joe Flacco is being bubble wrapped for week 1. Tyler Huntley just arrived. So here we are. And as Coach Stefanski said yesterday, game on. Sanders and Huntley in the preseason opener. And let's be honest, nobody manufactures chaos quite like the Cleveland Browns. This franchise has cycled through quarterbacks faster than the Kardashians cycle through last names. 27 starters in a decade. That's not a stat, but that's a full-blown trauma diagnosis. You can't even list them all without needing an oxygen mask and a therapist on standby. One guy literally fumbled into his own face. Another launched passes into Lake Erie. Figuratively, but barely. And then there's Deshaun Watson, once billed as a savior, now headlining Injured Reserve 2. The sequel. Big game coming tomorrow, and for a preseason opener in early August, this one actually has juice. All thanks to the quarterback situations on both sidelines. Bryce Young will start for Carolina. Remember last year? Rookie head coach Dave Canales kept Young and most starters wrapped in bubble wrap until the third and final preseason game. By week 1 in New Orleans, they looked disjointed and disconnected. Meanwhile, Watson's contract remains the financial equivalent of tossing $1 billion on a bonfire and roasting marshmallows over it. Fully guaranteed, grotesquely bloated, and producing exactly 0 wins. Every time he's sidelined, the Browns stare at their depth chart like it's a scratch-off lottery ticket, hoping there's something worth cashing in. Enter Joe Flacco, the calm in Cleveland's never-ending storm. He's got the unshakable swagger of a dad in New Balances who's seen it all. Flacco almost willed this team into relevance last year on nothing but guile, experience, and spite. But he's not the future. He's the break glass in case of emergency guy. And Cleveland's glass is already more cracks than pain. Which brings us here. Do you keep gluing together broken pieces or finally build something that lasts? Enter Shedeur Sanders. The moment he stepped onto the field at Colorado, it wasn't just football, it was television, poise, timing, swagger. He was running an NFL-style offense in a college environment that looked more like a stadium concert with shoulder pads. While most college QBs melt under pressure, Sanders dissected defenses with the calm precision of a professor grading papers. He's not just Dayon's kid, he's a walking brand machine, wrapped in elite footwork and a deep ball that lands like poetry. He's media savvy, camera trained, and immune to chaos, even when every hit looks like it comes with a free chiropractic adjustment. While other QBs get rattled, Sanders gets louder. He was bred for the spotlight, and now his name's floating in a locker room with real Super Bowl aspirations. The Browns don't just need talent, they need stability. A quarterback who can master the playbook and carry the burden of a fan base with decades of quarterback PTSD. Sanders, the 144th pick in the draft, starts preseason as quarterback 1 despite being listed 4th on the depth chart. Stefanski's system is tailor-made for him. Quick timing routes, precise reads, and pocket composure. They don't need a reckless gunslinger, they need someone who won't turn every third down into a panic drill. Sanders fits that mold, but brings flash. Imagine a quarterback who delivers the throw and the post-game fit. And let's not ignore the marketing angle. The NFL is no longer just sport, it's spectacle. Nobody commands eyeballs like the Sanders family. Add Shedeur to a roster anchored by a defense led by Myles Garrett, and suddenly, Cleveland has something it's lacked for years. Identity. Something beyond sad QB memes and existential dread. Garrett doesn't hype rookies lightly, and this city desperately needs a reason to believe. Because the alternative? Keep riding the Watson roller coaster. Pray Flacco's knees hold up. Or drift into yet another wasted season. The Browns' window is open now, and so is the door for Shedeur Sanders. They're not forcing him into this, they're starting him because literally everyone else is hurt. That's not sabotage, that's survival. Somebody has to take the snaps. Teddy Bridgewater isn't ready, and that leaves the door wide open for Shedeur Sanders. It's a golden opportunity, first team reps, a preseason spotlight, and the chance to put real NFL tape out there before Friday night's opener against Carolina. And this moment matters more than the box score. Cleveland's fan base has endured enough false dawns to fill an entire soap opera season. That's why this Shedeur debut isn't just another storyline. It's a crack in the cement of the franchise's old thinking, a chance to build forward instead of duct taping their way to another forgettable 9-win season. Maybe it started with a smirk. Maybe it sounded like a throwaway joke. But in a city where quarterback optimism is rarer than a sunny December, even a smirk can start a movement. And Sanders already has the look, the poise, the calm, the camera awareness, and more importantly, the ability to put the football exactly where it needs to go. The dog pound might not be ready for primetime, but primetime looks ready for the dog pound. It all began like one of those filler locker room moments ESPN glosses over with slow motion B-roll and dramatic music. Myles Garrett, possibly still smoldering from the last QB he slammed like a sack of potatoes, got asked about Sanders. He responded as casually as if he were discussing toothpaste. But in Cleveland, where quarterbacks vanish faster than unsaved TikToks, that's the equivalent of unveiling a bronze statue outside the stadium. The Browns technically have 5 quarterbacks. Sanders, the hottest name in camp, is 4th on the depth chart. But he's starting because Kenny Pickett's hurt, Dylan Gabriel's hurt, and Joe Flacco's got the permanent injury called being 40. So now, for the first time, Sanders gets to prove the league wrong for passing on him multiple times in the draft. And just to stir the pot further, Joe Flacco stepped up to the podium later that day, asked about the young QBs, the veteran with the driest delivery in sports, deadpanned, "Shedeur? Yeah, he's got that look. Might want to start printing QB1 on his locker." Whether he meant it as a joke or an omen is impossible to tell. Flacco's tone is so arid it could dehydrate a cactus. But in Cleveland's notoriously unstable QB room, even a half joke like that is pure rocket fuel for Brown's Twitter. The reaction was instant chaos. Fans erupted. Someone photoshopped Shedeur's face onto that old Brady Quinn Sports Illustrated cover. Another edited a clip of Garrett sacking a quarterback, replacing the football with Watson's contract disintegrating into dust. YouTube lit up with flaming thumbnails. The prime era begins in Cleveland, and Flacco crowned Shedeur. One meme had Stefanski holding a rose in a Bachelor spoof, whispering, "Will you accept this depth chart?" But strip away the memes and noise and you're left with something real. A genuine opportunity. Yes, Sanders is QB1 for just this preseason game, but opportunities in the NFL aren't guaranteed. You grab them when they show up. And here's the truth. Veterans like Garrett and Flacco don't casually hype rookies for fun. Garrett is the face of the Browns, the franchise heartbeat. His words echo. Flacco may sound monotone, but his monotone comes with a Lombardi trophy and a track record of mentoring QBs without ego. If those two put you on the radar, even half-jokingly, it matters. It's the NFL equivalent of the cool kids inviting you to their lunch table. For a team that's been defined by dysfunction, this feels different. Not reckless hype, not blind preseason delusion, earned intrigue, a defensive superstar backing a rookie, a Super Bowl champ not brushing him off. And in Cleveland, that's more than news, it's a culture shift. Now let me break this down for everyone, because this right here, it's outrageous. Let's not sugarcoat it. It all started with a single question. One sentence from Mary Kay Cabot, and the internet erupted. She didn't ask about Shedeur Sanders' development during minicamp. She wasn't interested in how he was adjusting to the Browns' offensive system. Nope. She looked him square in the eyes and asked about his father's health. Deion Sanders. A deeply personal, emotionally charged, and completely irrelevant topic, especially when the spotlight was supposed to be on Shedeur's NFL debut. And when it comes to Mary Kay, I genuinely don't understand how someone with such a track record of tone-deaf behavior holds a job with a professional media organization. Forget X's and O's, this crossed a line. The backlash was immediate, and this wasn't just Twitter noise, it came from fans, veterans, respected analysts. Everyone was saying the same thing. This was unacceptable, but here's the kicker. So that question wasn't just a moment of poor judgment, it was a trigger, a flashpoint that reignited years of frustration over how the media routinely treats young, confident black quarterbacks, especially when they refuse to play into some sanitized, pre-approved mold of what humble and grateful is supposed to look like. Mary Kay, seriously, cut the nonsense. Other rookie QBs, they're asked about offensive rhythm, competition, playbook comprehension, football questions. But Shedeur, he gets blindsided with an emotional grenade. And when he didn't bite, when he calmly, respectfully pivoted back to football, you could feel the irritation. Like the media didn't get the reaction they wanted. Like they couldn't manipulate the narrative. Because that's what this really boils down to. Control. Let's not forget, Mary Kay Cabot isn't just another reporter. She's a long-standing media figure in Cleveland. Her headlines shape narratives, and she's been called out before, not just for aggressive reporting, but for what she chooses to spotlight. Speeding tickets become headline news. A missed practice rep turns into a bad attitude headline. And somehow, almost always, it's the black quarterbacks under her microscope. This isn't just a bad moment, it's a pattern, a blueprint. Shedeur is being targeted, and that's not an exaggeration. It's connecting the dots. Remember when Cam Newton was criticized for smiling too much? Or Lamar Jackson mocked for not being media polished enough? Now Shedeur's cocky because he wears designer watches and doesn't flinch when hit with a passive-aggressive question? Let's be honest, if you're sick of watching confident black athletes get dismantled for simply embracing their excellence, hit that subscribe button. We're here to expose it, because this is the same tired script recycled over and over again. A young black quarterback walks in with poise and pride, and suddenly the media feels the need to break him, label him, humble him, strip the shine off his image, but this time it backfired. Shedeur didn't lash out. He didn't stumble. He didn't even seem rattled. He responded with poise, the way Deion raised him to. And that's what really caught the haters off guard. They expected immaturity. They got composure. They expected arrogance. They got professionalism. And the internet saw everything. But the media, this is nasty work, man. One misstep after another. Let's not pretend this is new either. Mary Kay's name has trended for all the wrong reasons before, but this hit different. Because it wasn't just about journalism, it was about respect, about boundaries, and most importantly, about how mainstream media still struggles to embrace unapologetically confident black athletes unless they follow a very specific set of rules. Their rules. They're fixated on whether he'll sign that contract, whether he'll report to camp, but let's call this what it is. You can say it's just sports. You can say it's just one reporter. But the energy doesn't lie. When fans across the country call out coded bias, when former players point to double standards, and when respected voices like Ryan Clark say enough, you better believe it's real. You see, this goes far beyond one awkward press exchange. This is about power dynamics. Who gets to ask the questions, and who's expected to sit there and smile through them? How do you feel you played? Every day there's room to evolve in every facet of my game. Now, let's address what the mainstream media refuses to acknowledge. The racialized playbook. That invisible, time-worn script running silently through NFL history. You know the one, where confident black quarterbacks get branded as cocky, arrogant, and self-absorbed. This feels different. It smells like belief. And in Cleveland, belief is dangerous because it's been extinct for so long. But let's not get lost in the haze of optimism. Let's ask the real question. Can Shedeur Sanders actually win QB1? Yeah, it's not ideal that he's being thrust into the fire after spending camp buried on the 4th string. But glass half full, this is a golden opening. The kind of shot where, if he shines, you suddenly hear whispers in the stands. I know we love Joe Flacco, but maybe this kid's got something. Sure, he's coming off a minor arm issue and his practice reps have been limited. But let's kill the conspiracy talk. No, the Browns aren't trying to sabotage themselves. This is the NFL, not Pee-wee ball. Opportunities aren't always gift-wrapped. You take them when they appear, even if you weren't fully ready on paper. The pros? Sanders is coachability incarnate. His tape screams it, his demeanor confirms it. This isn't a backyard freestyle QB relying on pure athletic chaos. This is a poised, composed, razor-sharp decision maker. His football IQ isn't impressive for a rookie. It's impressive, period. Give him a complex scheme and he'll hand it back diagrammed in cursive. And under pressure, he's unflappable. This is a guy who had ESPN cameras tracking him to breakfast and still ran an offense with surgical precision. Cleveland media, that's a light jog for him. And then there's the marketability. The NFL is a product and Sanders is a walking billboard. He's camera ready, social media gold, and he delivers on the field. Plaster his face on the season ticket ads and suddenly the Browns feel fresh, relevant, and exciting. The cons? He's still a rookie. The NFL is faster, nastier, and far less forgiving than anything he's faced. Mistakes will happen. And the $230 million elephant in the room? Deshaun Watson isn't going anywhere. You don't bench that much guaranteed money without triggering a front office civil war. But here's the thing. If anyone can break through that wall, it's Sanders. His skill set, personality, and pedigree aren't normal. They're built for the spotlight. Pair him with Amari Cooper, David Njoku, and a top 3 defense led by Garrett. And suddenly, Cleveland doesn't just look competitive, they look dangerous. The prime effect that started at Jackson State, exploded at Colorado, is now spilling into the NFL like glitter you can't vacuum up. Ticket sales, upper, jerseys, flying off shelves, media numbers, skyrocketing. The future of this team wouldn't just be about arm strength, it would be about poise, identity, and command. Zoom out, and it's surreal. Garrett, the warrior face of the franchise, Flacco, the wise elder, and Sanders, the rising star with the primetime aura. Cleveland, a city allergic to quarterback stability, might finally have stumbled into a formula that makes sense. It all started with a smirk and a deadpan comment. Now, every Stefanski glance will be dissected like prophecy. Every Flacco or Watson snap will feel like a countdown clock. But if Sanders keeps stacking good days, keeps turning heads, keeps looking like that guy, you can kiss that clipboard goodbye. Thank you guys. See you next video.